Hey there, I'm Elizabeth Henson. Welcome to the Messy Success Podcast, where I'm helping creative dreamers and overachievers tackle business and life. After 6 years of being my own boss, I finally unraveled a tiny bit of what it takes to survive in this amazing world of being an overly creative entrepreneur. I'm your business bestie, here to help you with all those big ideas and to normalize some of the day-to-day struggles that we all share. My mission is simple. I want more women to make a living doing what they love and to feel good about themselves in the process. The best way to start? We can't do it alone. So welcome. I hope you'll hang out with me here where it's totally okay to be messy.
Hello. Welcome back, you guys. Another week of the Messy Success Podcast. Elizabeth here. I am so freaking excited about this episode. I am bringing on my lawyer pal, Joey Vitale. We are both BBD Plus coaches over at Team Wedmore, which I have told you guys all about. And I drop a nice little bomb on him in the first few minutes that we get started that Joey is actually the first male that we have had on the Messy Success Podcast. And we don't need to make a huge deal of this, but it's just an exciting chapter of my journey because when I first started, I was solely working with women. My husband used to kind of give me a hard time about it. And I just have grown a little bit and evolved. I've been pushed outside my comfort zones, and I'm just starting to surround myself with all types of entrepreneurs. It's not only creative women, work-at-home moms, photographers. I'm really branching out, and Joey is a badass, creative lawyer who makes all of this mumbo-jumbo fun, right? When have you guys ever heard me talk about the legal stuff? No, it gives me hives. I don't talk about it. I avoid it like the plague. Of course, I am legal. All my stuff is taken care of, but I just kind of turn away from those conversations and usually send people somewhere else because it just isn't my wheelhouse. But Joey makes it so fun. And this is episode 55. There's going to be some great stuff for you guys in this episode. His free masterclass you guys are going to get access to. So don't forget that you're going to be able to get everything you need at elizabethhenson.co/E55. elizabethhenson.co/E55. And I always keep all this good stuff in my Instagram bio as well. So you guys know you can always hang out with me over there. Just DM me. I will send you whatever links that you want because there's some really cool stuff in this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about Joey's signature program, Power Brand. And when I did this collaboration with him, I was blown away by the amount of takeaways that I had from Power Brand. And you guys are going to hear more about it. But it really hit home for me that so many entrepreneurs that I look up to are still duct tape entrepreneurs. And that's okay. But being a power brand and having that confidence of getting the trademarks that you need, we are in the process of applying for 2 over at elizabethhenson.co, which is really exciting, thanks to Joey's help. And it's the same feeling as when you first get started and you just get that business license, right? You walk outside the courthouse, you've got your business license, and you just are taking yourself so much more seriously than you were before. And Joey gives you all the tools to become an absolute power brand and take your seriousness of your company to the next level. But he makes it so fun and he's just so cool. I could chat with him all the time. You guys are going to absolutely love him. So before I spoil all the goodness, let's go ahead and get started. But get out your pen and paper. You know it's a good episode when I'm over here taking notes. And remember that you can access everything at elizabethhenson.co/E55. All right, here is my pal, Joey. All right. Hey, Joey, welcome to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much.
Oh my gosh. So your webinar, your masterclass that we did a while back was so well received. I feel like I talked about it for like a week straight. And I know we're going to dive in more to that in a minute, but I was like begging my friends, you guys have to watch this. Like, I promise, I don't even care if you buy anything. It just like fueled my fire. It was so cool. So we'll dive that into it in a minute. But why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you? Like, oh, by the way, I have to drop a bomb on you before you tell everyone who you
Okay.
are.
Okay.
You're literally the first man on my podcast.
No way.
How does that make you feel?
I love that so much. Elizabeth, you can understand this. I didn't realize when I became a creative entrepreneur just how women filled of a space it was.
Yes.
And I'll never forget, like, one of my first friends, who of course is a woman because it's the space that we're in, like took me under her wing and was like, "It's okay, everybody. Like, Joey's like a babe dude."
Like, he's
And
okay. He's okay. Oh my gosh. It's so funny because I thought like the first time I had a guy on here, like I would make it a big thing and it would be a big deal. And I kind of like, I didn't even think of it because, you know, I know you outside of this space at this point. So I didn't even think anything of it. And I'm like, by the way, so welcome to an audience of mostly women. I do have a couple guys that hang that are awesome, but yeah, you're the first male guest. Welcome.
well, thank you so much for having me. And to the other dudes out there, like, fist bump. I don't know. What do we guys do? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell everyone what you do because it's definitely very different than anyone I've ever brought on here before.
Sure. So I'm a trademark attorney. I like to call myself a brand legitimizer because that's a little bit more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know my story, Elizabeth, but a couple of years ago, I was really burnt out by trying to be this courtroom attorney that everybody kind of expected me to be since I went to law school, and really felt like I was just not a good lawyer. Like, I didn't argue well in courtrooms. I was super uncomfortable in depositions. I hated this idea of being paid to be super one-sided all the time when you get to a lawsuit, like, nobody wins.
No, no,
and
it's tough.
and so when I decided to start my own business, like, I came from a pretty, honestly, like, deflated place. I was like, okay, maybe someone will want to work with me. Maybe
Oh, I
maybe
can't
there's
even
somebody out
see
there that
you
I
like
can
in
help.
a courtroom with a big fancy like suit on. I can't even.
Mm.
Not that I can't see you dressed up, but like I just can't see you in that arena, right? Like,
Yeah, no, I looking back, I'm like, why did I think that would be an okay idea for me? And I even had people at the law firm, they would ask me pretty consistently, like, when are you going to drop the Y in Joey and just go by Joe? Because no one wants to be represented by a Joey in the courtroom.
oh my gosh, and I can't see you as Joe. Like you're way too cool and hip for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like I know you guys listening cannot see Joey, but he's got like the hat on. He's always in a t-shirt, like super hip.
I will take that. Thank you. You have to talk to my wife because I don't get those types of compliments from her very often.
Oh my god,
Um,
who's the better dresser out of the two of you?
well, she is, hands
Okay,
down.
my husband dresses me. He's like cannot
Really?
stand when I wear like the mom outfits. Yeah, he's not okay with it. He's like, no, you will not wear those in public. I will buy you some Nikes right now.
Well, that's a good point because we don't have kids, and I can imagine my wife being like entering like I don't care mode
Uh huh.
when
Uh
kids
huh.
would enter a scene.
Waistbands are out the window. Done.
That is amazing. So yeah, I decided that I didn't want to help people in the courtroom anymore. And in the legal world, unless you want to do something very specific, like get into politics or save the planet, something really cool like that, the main two options are either you do litigation work or you do what's called transactional work. And so that's a lot of reviewing contracts and really working for businesses. And I was looking into that transactional opportunity, and I never really done any of that in law school or with a law firm. And I was also moving from St. Louis to Chicago, and I just happened to meet this lawyer who became one of my mentors, who called herself a startup lawyer. So she worked with like tech startups and new apps, and she would
Cool.
write their custom terms of use, privacy policies, things like that, their partnership agreements, helping them get venture funding.
Okay, it was cool
And
until you said that. Like, apps, I'm on board, but then once you get to like, no, this is what she actually did. I'm like, okay.
I know the idea of it's super cool. So I started working for her, and I realized that, when you really start helping, especially more innovative companies, she was helping companies all over the country and really even all over the world. And if you spend a hot minute in law school, you realize that usually lawyers are only limited to like their own state. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, well, this is cool. I can work with people wherever. I'm moving from Missouri to Illinois. So it would be cool if I could not have to drop clients during that transition. And so I started working with her. And then I found a coach, a sales coach. I didn't know that she was a coach at the time. I thought that she was just like a person who helped people. Like, I didn't know that this world existed. But I was like, hey, can you help me? I want to somehow have a law firm that helps business owners, and I want to do it without having an office. I want to work from home. And she was like, have you ever thought about working with Etsy store owners?
Oh, wow.
You asked for this story, so I'm giving you
No,
like
I
the
know.
full
I know. I
story.
love it. I love it.
And I was like, wait, Etsy store owners? I mean, sure, but why?
Right.
And she said that it sounds crazy, but there are Facebook groups with tens of thousands of Etsy store owners and makers and hobbyists. And she was like, there's not really like a go-to lawyer on the scene right now. So I have a couple of relationships with people who own those groups. And if you want, I can help connect you and like make you the person in the maker group. So for my first year as a law firm owner, I like exclusively was working with grandmas on Etsy.
Oh my gosh, so funny. But that is so true though. Like that is such a big, big space. And I feel like they're missing a lot of things there. Like, I mean, there's people that teach people how to use Etsy, but like you don't see a lot of like higher level business coaching or like the marketing space. I remember like the first person that was doing marketing for Etsy people, but it's a huge arena.
It's massive. It's
Yeah.
massive. And the more that I got to know people in that space and see who else, like what other communities they were in, I got to know this larger creative entrepreneur community and
Hmm.
like wedding industry professionals, graphic designers, interior designers. And I realized this is kind of when I was like, wait, it's all women. Like
Yeah, this is when you realize it.
there's this huge female entrepreneur community that I love. And I was so grateful for it because I I really was like waiting to have to start working with this like startup bro culture that really didn't feel like it was my people. And
Hmm.
so I was so glad that this world was as big as it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had this law firm and we were doing everything at the time. So trademarks, copyrights, contracts, LLCs. If you had a legal problem, I was going to try and help you.
Right.
And it took a couple of years for me to learn something, but I learned it pretty like loudly, if that makes sense. Like once I
Hmm.
discovered it, I was like, oh, this is big and I'm seeing it everywhere, which is that out of all of the legal stuff that I could do and that people were asking me for, trademarks kept coming up as this thing that business owners forgot to ask for or didn't really see the value in immediately and then got blindsided by later.
Totally.
And so I was like, you know what? I really want to help people as much as I can, even if that means not selling the sexiest legal stuff in the world. So we pivoted the law firm to just be a trademark law firm.
And you made it sexy.
We tried as much as we could to make it sexy. And then we also realized that as we were becoming known as like the trademark firm, there were a lot of people that either couldn't afford us yet or just didn't see why a legal budget would go to trademarks more than anything else. And
Hmm.
so that is why we created what is now the Power Brand trademark course.
Which is so awesome. And you guys, we're gonna link the link how to get access to the webinar that I'm gonna keep referring to, or masterclass. Do you have a preference? Either one. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, because when you talk about the duct tape entrepreneur and the power
Mm.
brand, and I am like in this major transition right now of like the duct tape entrepreneur is kind of like behind me, but I'm not quite yet a power brand, but like I know that's where I'm going, right? Like that is
Yeah.
so inevitable for me. And just watching that, I was like, oh, this is so good. And realizing it's so important. Like I had a couple of friends that I was like, you guys know that you want to be on Ellen, you want to be on Oprah, like you're
Mm.
doing this big thing with your business. Can you imagine like being on the Today Show and then realizing you don't actually own your brand or the names that you're using? I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Oh my, I love that you're saying this. Like, I love that you specifically are saying this because in the masterclass or webinar, I do go into, this concept of a duct tape entrepreneur versus a power brand. But I'm glad you said this because I wanted to clarify that I really believe that there's a difference between a duct tape entrepreneur, which I don't think is a good thing, and
Mhm.
a messy entrepreneur,
Mhm.
which I think is inevitable.
Mhm. Yeah, messy's kind of like the journey, right? I mean, some
Yeah,
of us like do actually have messy desks, but that doesn't mean that our business isn't put together. But
sure.
no, yeah, the duct tape entrepreneur also like I realized like, oh man, so many people that I look up to, they are that. And they do it really well,
Mm,
but they are that. And I think we may have talked about that on the webinar, but it was just like this huge epiphany of like I know that I'm going to be a power brand, like I'm going to have my stuff
mm,
together, and if it's not trademarked then it's going to be because it can't, and then nobody else can have it, or just being able to have those conversations even if I don't have anything trademarked, knowing that I can talk to my clients and talk to other professionals and be educated around the conversation felt really good to me. Like it felt like I was like putting another like professional dot on my resume or whatever, like, that I can have a conversation about it.
yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse as a business owner than not talking loudly about what you're doing.
Exactly. And
And
feeling like unconfident or
yep,
yeah, and I think when we know that we've been through that process, we can scream it,
right,
it's
right.
so cool. And it's so important. And that's what I told my VA, she's going to help me like go through the application
Mm.
process. And I was like, but I want you to watch the webinar first because I feel like you need to
Ah,
see and feel the brand and feel why we're doing this. Like, I'm not just having you do this for the sake of X's and O's. Like, I want you to really be on board with this transformation, right?
oh, I love that.
I'm like, it's so silly that something like getting a trademark, but it's just, and maybe it's the space that I'm in. Like, you and I are both like working with James, and now we've got the TCP stuff. Like, it's such a transformative time for me in general that I think I'm just so open minded to things like this and seeing things in such a different way.
Yeah, it really does change things when you realize that you can have all the domain names and social media handles and LLCs in the world, but if you don't have a trademark, you don't actually own your business name, your podcast name, the name of your program. And
Totally.
one of the things I love about the worlds that we're in, Elizabeth, is that we work with like amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this discomfort of being an accidental entrepreneur, or I'm sorry, an accidental infringer
Mm-hmm.
that feels worse to us, like at an emotional, moral level, than I think other entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like product, people that sell products are they're not their brand,
Yep.
right? Like they're selling something, but their personality, their personal brand is totally separate. Like they have a different Instagram account
Right.
for themselves,
Right.
right? Yeah, that feels different. Absolutely. And not to backtrack, but I needed to ask, how did graphic design get into the mix? Because I know you mentioned you used to do graphic design. Because I know that's in there somewhere, and I don't think I've ever asked you that before.
Yeah. Wow. So I've always been kind of a graphic design hobbyist.
Okay.
So when I was in like high school, college, I would design shirts for people and things. And
And somehow you
I
became a lawyer.
yeah, I don't know. I will say when I was in law school, there's this thing called like the law school journal
Mhm.
where only a few students in every class can get on, and you write and publish and review like these legit pieces of like legal scholarly writing every quarter.
Okay.
And so I was in journal one year, which my dad still calls like the school paper. He was like trying to brag about me to like one of his friends, and he was like, "Yeah, Joey made it in like the law school paper," and I was like, "You're close, but I'll take it."
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
But I created an online companion site to the law journal so that
Hmm.
students who were in the journal whose publications didn't get picked for the paper version could still publish there. So I liked the online world. I liked designing websites and not super like I don't know any coding, but I'm like, this looks nice, whatever. And when I was trying to again survive as a litigation lawyer, every holiday season, my extended Italian family would all ask me to create their like Christmas cards.
Hmm.
And so at some point I was like, you guys, I will do this, but you have to pay me. So
Right.
I created a company called Vitale Graphics. It had a little kangaroo
You
logo on
actually
it.
did this as a company. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so it was like a kangaroo logo, so like a little Joey.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will do it if you pay me. And I had like 3 clients.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was a graphic designer for like a hot minute.
That's so funny. I was too. I went to school for that.
Well,
And
okay, yeah.
it
You're
didn't
like,
come
Joey, you don't
naturally
even
to
know
me.
what you're doing. I was like, I know how to center things
Yeah.
and like make everything the same color. But like layers confuse me. Like I don't
Mm.
layers I
Your
don't
your PowerPoint is it do we still call those a PowerPoint, your slides? Your Google
yeah.
slide, I don't know. It looks so good though, and
Well,
I
thank
know
you.
your brand is so put together, and I know you said you've done most of it, and I think you're starting to outsource it now, but, graphic design never really came naturally to me, like, I kinda
Mm,
learned the rules, and I kinda got by because I
mm,
was such a, like, fine art nerd, but
yeah.
other people convinced me to major in that, like, "Well, that's where the money is, you'll always have a job," and, like, no one told me, "By the way, you're gonna sit in a cube for 8 hours a day." So I was like, "I'm out." Like, I'm
Yeah.
out.
It's
Crazy.
I found it's a much more fun hobby than like profession for me.
Yeah, and it's good. It's good to have experience in it, right?
Yeah,
Like, my
totally.
family, same thing, or like an old boss of mine was like, "Can you put some text on top of this picture for me?"
Love it.
There's a free app called Canva, right?
Right. Yep. Yep.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Okay, so you came out with Power Brand. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey of like coming up with this affordable way for entrepreneurs to get their trademark and just a little bit about the messy part of how you were able to actually sell it, right? Because so many people come up with these amazing ideas and then they either struggle to put it out into the world or they struggle to actually make a profit off it, especially with courses, because a lot of the people that I work with, they haven't gotten to like the scaling stage yet. So they might have an amazing course, but they haven't figured out how to actually get it in front of enough people.
Yeah. Well, actually creating the course, as you know, like that was such a beast at the time. Like I remember like having fun, but like slaving nights and weekends, being like, this is going to be such a great course. I'm, making sure that each of these video lessons is going to be great. And so that was a lot of fun. And then I remembered when I launched it, at that point, again, I had a bigger Facebook group and I had this audience that was ready for it. They were waiting for me to discount my legal services,
Right,
really. And
right.
so I was like, here's the next best thing. And so when we launched, it wasn't too difficult for us to hit like this goal that I had for my first launch. But man, that second launch of this course hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I remember launching and being like, "Oh, nobody's interested anymore. I used up all of my leads on the first launch. Like I don't know how I'm going to attract people."
So
And
like all your warm audience had already seen it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like and I realized that I had spent so much time making this course available, which was good, but I didn't really yet have the messaging down for what I would
Mhm,
tell strangers to get them really understanding why this was so valuable.
mhm, mhm.
And the webinar that you guys now can see, man, it's almost like we're like music artists and this is like an album that we've been putting together,
Yes,
like
like a labor of love, yes.
I have been giving this I've probably done that presentation hundreds of times.
Oh my
And
gosh.
every time would get feedback. I would see what people liked or didn't like, and I would make some changes. And once we got it to a point where consistently we would do that presentation live and people would sign up,
Mm-hmm.
we were like, okay, now we're ready to, you know, reach out to other people and see how we can do what you and I did and
Yeah.
collaborate on something like it, or have a recording evergreen available. And so
Right.
I can
So,
spend
and
more
I
of
know
my
you
time
have
just
the
amplifying
evergreen,
it.
but
Yeah.
the actual webinars are live, right? Like
Yeah.
you're still doing them live, except when we set it up like you and I did for my audience to be able to go rewatch the one we did together, right?
Yeah. So if anybody goes to like we're going to get like ninja here. So if anybody goes to like my website live or my website or Instagram or whatever, you'll get a link to a recording that's just kind of meant for everybody.
Right.
But I know that a live conversation really helps people stay till the end and take action. And so whenever I find great business owners who are like, hey, my audience needs this, can we work together to get this in front of my audience? I always want to start with a live version because I know that that will attract more people and it will
Totally.
engage more people all the way to the end.
Yeah, it's a really good presentation though. I feel like if
Wow.
you just start, I feel like you'll get all the way to the end. But
Well,
you got to
thank you.
start, right? Like people got to make that
Yeah.
commitment to actually watch it. With any content these days, like we have to commit to actually watching it. But it's the best when you're like sucked in. You're like, "Ooh, I'm finishing this one."
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So, now that you've been able to grow it a little bit more, what do you feel like is next for Power Brand? Are you going to continue to scale it? Are you going to continue to, work with partners? Anything else exciting?
Yeah. So continuing to work with partners, definitely. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Um,
And you guys did such a good job with that. I know I've told you this, but I wanted to say it on the podcast too with Caitlin and like I've done some affiliate stuff, but it's usually pretty clunky, right? Like
mm,
there is usually like a little messy. Okay, cool. I got some links, I got some graphics, but I don't really like know what's going on. But I mean, just having that like specific landing page by itself that has everything that you need, and then you just sign up and book your call with Caitlin. I mean, it was so cool to see that as a business owner to business owner, like how well run of a machine that was.
well, thank you for saying that. A couple of years ago, I really got turned on to this concept of having an effortless business.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you and I have friends who are like obsessed with that word too.
Yes.
And what was interesting for me when I really looked into it, I realized that, a lot of entrepreneurs, like we want to run our business in a very effortless way. We want effortless lives ourselves.
Absolutely. I tell my audience light and easy.
Yeah. And there's also this opportunity for us to put in additional work so that our customers, our partners, and our team, they can feel like their end of it is effortless.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned my teammate Caitlin. She's a rock star. And
Oh my
so
God, yes.
when we decided to do this, we had a lot of conversation of like, what can we do to make this as easy as possible for the partners when they
Mm-hmm.
sign up. Because as somebody who's been on the other side of affiliates or conferences or summits or podcast interviews, like I know that sometimes it can just feel like another thing that's added to your to-do list and it can feel difficult. And so whatever we can do and across the board to make things easy has been helpful. And that has actually turned into a universal principle for the entire business because we found out that while a lot of our lawyer friends are becoming more and more obsessed with like giving client gifts
Mm-hmm.
and or being a more affordable option or whatever, we've learned that if we can make our clients lives easier, then like that is our unique advantage.
Absolutely. And they're gonna feel that more than, a gift.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally. I love that. And I don't know if Caitlin relayed the message to you, but I was like, you guys are kind of sitting on a gold mine. Like no one actually teaches
Mm.
anyone how to do this. So it's like, I know that's not really in your wheelhouse, but like to be able to share that process, I think would be so valuable. Like how to actually,
Ah,
but see, it's one of those things where it's like people got to see why it's important. they almost have to experience it in the way that I did to be like, my business needs this. Like once
Mm.
your offer is set up and it's ready to scale and you're ready to partner with people, like having that process light and easy for you and then light and easy for us, the business partner, it was really impressive. And I was like, goals,
Oh,
hashtag goals.
well, thank you. It's interesting because, and again, I know you'll appreciate this. Whenever we see an opportunity to create something for people, there's always a part of me that's like, I have to stay focused on the one thing that we're building.
Well, and that's why you're successful. I was
Um,
totally going to say that. Like, you're not, you know, that you're kind of in a good place when you learn how to not say yes to all of that stuff.
it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And y- if there was one new offer that I'm starting to get more tempted to put out there, I think you'll like this. But so when it comes to Power Brand, that's under this larger umbrella of my personal brand. We now have a podcast. It's called Owning It, and I call it my legalish podcast because
Hmm.
I don't just like talking about the law all day. I really do want to talk about those issues that might not be totally law on the face of things, but there's a big legal component to it. And so
Hmm.
I like trademarks because it's the legal side of branding. And we've realized that there's a lot of need right now for people to bring on team members, and there's a legal side to what that contractor agreement or employment agreement needs to look like. But we have a really cool, super easy process for hiring, onboarding, and training new team members. And that might be a new next program that we offer
Cool.
alongside Power Brand.
Well, I was going to say just the bonuses that Power Brand comes with in itself, I feel like
Yeah,
were
well,
easily
that
worth
too.
the investment. Like just to have the contracts and all the goodies that you put in there, I'm like, shoot, even if I don't watch the actual course, this stuff was worth it.
We we really wanted to with Power Brand, and thank you for saying that because I forgot to mention that if you join our trademark course, we have all these other legal resources that we've created that we
Hmm.
just give you as bonuses. And
And
so
they're so good.
we basically, that's my way of saying, like, if you're willing to take steps to protect your trademark, which might not be the number one thing on your legal list, I will give you everything else that you need for free.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, so good. Because it's like it's not any more work for you. Like that stuff already exists, so why not, you know, give it as bonuses? It's so good. And while we're talking about trademarks, I know one thing that we were thinking about chatting about is naming stuff. So I meant to say this
Mm,
before. So my podcast is the Messy Success Podcast, and I went through the search part of the course to try to see what's available. Messy Success is not trademarked. The
mm.
Messy Success Podcast is not trademarked. Do you have any feedback for like like should I go for Messy Success? My gut tells me that probably isn't available because it's I don't know why it wouldn't be, but I feel like it wouldn't be. But I feel like specifying podcast, now if there's more than one thing out there, at least it's in its own bucket. What are your thoughts on that, if that's okay if I ask?
Yeah. So what do you think would be the problem if it didn't get accepted?
Well, if someone else has it, which I guess I already know they don't, right? Since I searched the way that the
Yeah.
course teaches you to search. Like I've
Yeah.
followed that pretty much to a T,
Okay.
and nothing popped up.
Okay. So
So, and I think if I remember correctly, if I apply and I get denied, that means nobody else can trademark it either, which is probably one of the reasons it's not available.
that is often the case. So let me
Okay.
step back here, though. So for anybody who's new to the trademark world, welcome. It's a fun place. There's there are a lot of trademark applications that get filed every year,
Hmm.
over 500,000 every year. Most of them get rejected,
But
which
that's not always a bad thing, right?
right, and that surprises a lot of people because a lot of people are like, well, wait, isn't a trademark like an LLC or something where I just file paperwork and I get it? No. And the biggest reason why a trademark gets denied is because it's too similar to another trademark.
Right.
And so that is usually one of the biggest concerns of business owners when they're preparing to submit an application is there anything like it that is so similar that I should really see that coming and not even waste my time moving forward?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to be thinking about that search. At the same time, as you're waiting to decide whether or not to move forward,
Right.
somebody else could file something.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. That's been on my mind.
And I think you would kick yourself if you found out that you decided not to take the chance, but someone else did and they
Mm-hmm.
got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So it's better to just take action than to sit back and wonder. It's what you're
Yeah, and
doing.
that's part of the reason why I created Power Brand,
Yeah,
so that people could take like messier action on trademarks without feeling like they forked over all of these legal fees and still were told no.
absolutely. But it's a lot less messy than if they just try to go about it their own, because
Right.
you're giving us such an amazing step-by-step process. So it's really the best of both worlds. Like you're not going to hire somebody, but you're actually going to, be able to do it in a more efficient way.
Yeah, if you try and do it totally on your own without any guidance, you're probably going to fall into a couple of traps. And so
Mm-hmm.
the main course is the Power Brand course really helps you avoid those common ones and then let you know what other traps are out there. And one of the nice things about the course that I like about the course, but not many people use, is you can always decide to hire my law firm and we'll credit the cost of the course back to you.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that. Totally.
And so we're having more and more people take us up on that offer, but I really love that most of the students in the program
They don't
feel
need to.
comfortable filing on their own.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons I'm having my VA kind of help me with it because she's much more of like a
Mm,
X's and O's, cross our T's and dot our I's kind of person.
yeah,
So I'm like, if I just have someone like a partner that makes me feel like I'm not doing this alone, and then
yeah,
I can pop in the Facebook group and get support when I need it. But it just feels so good to be taking action at all on something that before I didn't even know was important.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's awesome. So cool. So we talked a little bit about your team, and I know your team is growing like pretty quickly. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Has that been messy and exciting?
Yes, and yes. Um, it's been awesome. I will say that as entrepreneurs in our online space, I think that we learn pretty quickly that we have to be willing to invest pretty heavily in some things, or else every month is going to feel like we're just struggling to survive. And
Mm-hmm.
so, whether those investments are coaching or Facebook ads or whatever, for me, I realized early on that it would be worth investing in the same way that my friends were investing in coaches, investing in like team development. And
Mm-hmm.
so we mentioned Caitlin already, but there were a couple people on my team a couple years ago that just happened to be on my team when I met this person who does high level growth and leadership team training for companies. And so she was like, I will do quarterly meetings with you and your leadership team. Who's on your leadership team? And I was like, well, I don't know what that is.
Well, I need one of those.
and, and so she was like, anybody who is on your team that you think has the potential to like lead at a high level, even if they're not there yet, should probably be at this meeting. And
Writing
so
this down, by the way.
and
It's
so
a
my
good podcast episode when I'm taking notes.
right. And so I was like, you know what? I've got Caitlin. And so I flew Caitlin down to Chicago, and the two of us and this facilitation group, we went through like a multi full day experience of mapping out like with big post-its what the next 5 years, 10 years, 1 year, next quarter was going to look like,
So
and
cool.
getting everything out there in terms of our objections, what was going to make it hard and potentially easy, and all this other stuff. And yeah, that was maybe 2.5 years ago now. So from that, we now have our leadership team. Under that, we have a growing number of US based team members. And then we had this like rock star suite of VAs in the Philippines.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, and do you like have team meetings once a week or once a month with everybody, or is it just the US based assistants and then they delegate? And because that's kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm like, I've got my one Filipino VA, she's incredible, but I'm like, I don't know how much to like bring her in, because I don't want to overwhelm her. I don't know. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, we're trying to get better at doing big team meetings at least once a quarter, hopefully
Hmm.
once a month soon. And then everybody in the US meets once every 2 weeks. And then my leadership team and I meet at least twice a week now.
Oh, nice.
Um, but we actually just finished our quarterly retreat over Zoom last week. So
Cool.
we've got our rocks for Q4 in place, and uh, they've all kind of, the cool thing about having like quarter long rocks and goals and projects is the way we set it up. People have to kind of raise their hand to picking which one or more of those long-term projects they are going to own for the quarter.
Yes, yes. And that's why I think that kind of face-to-face time is so important, because I just feel like I'm constantly asking my team, like, now tell me, do you enjoy this or do you enjoy this over here? Right?
Yeah.
Like, but if you can have these conversations of like, this is what we're doing, like who's jumping out of their seat to
Yeah.
run this ship, right?
And I no longer have anything that I own.
Yeah, that's
Like
awesome.
I'm just there to help them.
Yeah. And you're just the visionary. Like, this is what you
Yeah.
show up to do. Like,
Yeah.
and this is so exciting for me, because I was telling my friend the other day, because I've been doing some hiring. You helped me with so much of
Mm.
that. Um, and I was like, I don't have attachments anymore. Like, the only thing I will not let go of is nobody's going to get on stage and speak for me. Nobody's going to record my podcast for me. Nobody's going to do my Facebook lives
Mm.
for me. But other than that, like, I don't feel like controlling or obsessive. Like, I am ready to pass off the torch for every bit of it. Because I'm like, I realize like that's the only thing they can't do. They can't be me, but anything else, like somebody else can do.
Yeah, it's
Probably.
crazy how much you can delegate. And it's also, and I know that you and I have talked about this in our fun Facebook group chat. Sometimes not even delegating, but pretending like you're delegating,
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. So I have a fake virtual assistant. Anybody who tries to message me on Facebook, you'll get to meet Jess.
Yes.
Jess doesn't exist.
I told someone about this. And so maybe it was you, but like to make an email account that's basically like customer service, at
Yep.
lizhenson.co, so that I can actually reply to people's emails as the assistant.
Yeah, and just make up a name and be like, hey, this is so and so from Elizabeth's team.
It can take the emotional attachment out of it, right? Like your
Yeah, so
invoices
much.
due or whatever. Like, but it's almost like you're creating that position before you even hire by just doing it that way.
Yeah. And I
So,
talk to lawyers all the time who are so, it sounds weird because it's like, well, they run law firms. They're making tens of millions of dollars a year. Like they must be way ahead of us here. But every week I talk to an attorney who's like, my clients just want to talk to me all day. How do I delegate that?
oh my
And I'm
gosh,
like,
they need a
have they
Jess.
told you that? And they're like, no, but I know that they wouldn't talk to anybody else.
Yeah. You're like, no.
Nope.
If anything, they might be more honest, thinking it's not you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm totally gonna message you now. I'm like, hey Jess. Oh my gosh, that's great. I know now all the listeners know your secret's
I
out.
know. I know. It's out. It's one of my favorite business tips ever, though. It's
It's
so
so
good.
good. And now I'm trying to think if that was you that told me to do that, because I've definitely passed that on quite a bit to my friends. Like, just create a second email. Like, you got to fire a
Oh,
client. Just all of a sudden, you have this amazing assistant.
yep.
That is so funny. Okay. Is there anything else you want to share with us about Power Brand? I am going to link the free masterclass and get that out to everyone. I'm really excited to keep talking about that. It's been in my Instagram links since we did it. That's how excited I
Awesome.
am. And
Thank
I'm like
you.
boxing all my friends. You have to watch this.
Ah,
And it's
awesome.
like, I
Well,
think people hear trademarks and they get scared, but I'm like, no, just
ah,
watch.
thank you. Thank you. I will say, if anybody, if you're kind of like if you're like, okay, this sounds good, but Joey, like, I don't think I'm ready for trademarks yet because I don't have my LLC set up yet, and I feel like I should do that first. I hear you. And Elizabeth, if you don't have this information, I'll make sure you get it. But I have my startup kit, which is priced even lower than Power Brand. And
Yeah, for
it can
LLCs,
be
right?
for LLCs, terms of use and privacy policy.
Yeah.
So if that is something that you just really want to tackle before you tackle trademarks, I make that super easy no matter what state you're in to get the
Yeah,
LLC formed.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's a big one that comes up too with a lot of the creative women that I work with that are just getting started or they're doing it part time. They're in that business license stage. And I always tell people like your audience, your customers are only going to take you as seriously as you take yourself.
Yeah.
And I went and got my license first thing because I knew it was going to make me look in the mirror and take myself more seriously.
Yeah.
And
There's this weird synergy between like legal stuff and legitimacy filings and like mindset.
absolutely. Absolutely. And knowing that you have that. Like I'm not just a
Yeah.
mom with the camera. I got my business license. I'm paying my taxes. I'm doing
Yeah.
everything I'm supposed to be doing. I got my contracts. Like it's crazy to me how many, photographers, but business owners in general, they are like just taking money on Venmo and like not taking retainers and not having contracts. And I'm like, I don't even care about like making a mistake. I care about like being legit. Like,
Yeah.
like I
And
wanna raise my prices and all that stuff, and you wanna feel good about it.
and having the business be not you anymore is
Right,
huge.
right,
When you can really emotionally separate yourself from how business is doing because it's not happening to you, it's happening to an LLC that you own.
right, totally, absolutely. Yeah. I know, I think I was a sole proprietor, like, for 1 year, and then I was like,
Mm.
"No, I'm ready to upgrade."
Yeah, it feels totally different, and it really makes a difference with the team when
Mhm,
it feels like you all are working on this legitimate entity, and it's not just like everybody be nice to the business owner. This is
mhm.
his show kind of thing.
Right, and everybody believes in it, everybody believes in the core values, and that's a
Yeah,
big thing that, I've been working on is, like, the developing a culture. So, like, I don't want my VA to just push the paper, I want her to be excited about our mission and about helping people and, you know, join the mastermind calls, join the Zoom calls, like, be part of it,
yeah,
I mean, and it's still a work in progress, but it's when you experience that stuff in other businesses, like just sticking my toe in all the things that James does, like that culture, you're like, this is what I need. It's like
yeah.
not tangible, it's not a real thing, but you walk into the room and like you feel it, right?
You totally do. You totally do.
Yeah. And that's the power brands.
It is. It is. It was part of the name of Power Brand too just came from this sense of claiming that you're not just a personal brand, hobbyist, whatever, and really stepping into your power. Because as a brand, you do not have nationwide protections
Hmm.
without that legal trademark registration in place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's just so cool to see why it's so important and why we need it.
Mm,
And for me, it's the big part is like the mindset part and feeling more confident in all the things
yeah.
that I'm doing.
It's a huge
Um,
sigh of relief when you
yeah,
get
it
it,
really
for
is.
sure.
And I'm like, I'm a wing it person and I take pride in the fact that I wing it and I do things really well. But what you said about separating yourself from the business is that's so true to kind of where I'm at now. And I think that's why I'm like, I can be messy and be the visionary, but my business can be so legit and so
Yeah.
tight and put together over here. But that's not a representation of necessarily like, my creativity or my ability to wing it. Like I could never create a course like that because I don't do anything in advance. Like these people that can create a course, they're like, "Well, I've already actually recorded 10 modules. I just haven't like sold it to anyone yet." I'm like, "Are
I
you
know. I can't.
crazy?" Like I'm like, "Dude, just set up a PayPal link,
have a Facebook group. That is all you need. That is all you need. And just record it live and just go from there.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how I live my life. It's not weird for me, but I'm like, I could never sit behind a computer and record 10 modules and then not do anything with it.
I know. I've got some friends who are new to this online course world, and they're like, I did all these videos, but I didn't really like the way I looked, so I'm going to hire this company and pay them thousands of dollars to like put slides into the video that has already been recorded so that they don't see my face. And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
dude,
My jaw. And they probably don't even know if the offer is gonna sell yet.
no.
Right.
They're like,
Oh,
and I'm giving people access for free so they can test it.
and how do
And
you
I'm like,
just tell someone like, dude, just take messy action? Like
yep,
just get the offer nailed down first and teach people
yep,
live. Like just show up on Mondays and teach people live,
yeah.
you know? Crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything coming up that you're excited about that you want to share with us? Tell my people how they can find you.
Man, nothing's coming up really except um, the at the time of this recording, we're about 9 episodes into my new podcast, Owning It.
Love it.
And you can go to joeycvitale.com/search and search any word or term that you think is legal. And we'll take you to that part of the podcast where I start
Awesome.
talking about it. We're really excited to start bringing on guests soon.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any type of like legal-ish question, like a tax person or like anything, and Elizabeth, you would be an awesome guest too. So we should talk.
Okay.
But let me know because I'm really excited to start going from solo episodes to guest interviews.
Yes.
And people don't just want to talk about the law all day, and I get that. So I'm excited for this like next phase of the podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just the guest stuff is so fun. But as a like listener, don't ever let go of the individuals. Like
Mm,
sprinkle in the guests, but like I just love podcasts for the person specifically, but there's a lot of podcasts out there that are only interviews, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
I feel like you never really get to know, and obviously this isn't what you're doing, but I'm just having a creative thought.
No,
Okay.
but totally.
Yeah, so you know, it's exciting and the guest ones get really fun, but I always try to make sure that I'm sprinkling in, you know, that it's like 3 to 4, 3 my episodes, 1 guest or 2, you know,
Yeah,
50-50 or whatever. But cuz I
smart.
love like this is my jam. I love hanging out and talking with people, but you know, at the end of the day, like your listeners want to know you, right?
Right. That's
And
such good advice.
yeah, and I talk about everything on the podcast. I'm like, if you want to hear my son's birth story, I'm talking about it on the podcast. I'm not wasting
Amazing.
my Instagram space to talk about my kids, y'all, but I will tell you my birth story on the podcast.
I love that. I love that.
So, yeah, like the personal, I feel like, I don't know, it's a safer space, right? Like people are listening to you as they're taking a walk or they're doing the dishes. I feel for some reason like I can be a little bit more open on my podcast. No idea why.
That's I'm that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and everyone that has asked, I don't know if you're seeing this yet either, but everyone's like, "So how's the podcast going?" And I'm like, the main thing that I can tell people about podcasting is it expedites that trust factor
Mm,
where, you know, someone might see me on Instagram and it's like a quick hello, but someone that actually listens to the podcast, like 9 times out of 10, they're going to reach out to me, they're going to DM me or they're going to email me like specifically that they loved an episode or box me or whatever it might be. And I'm just noticing to go from stranger to like person it happens a
yeah.
lot faster with the podcast. You
Ah,
know,
so
even if it's
cool.
less, right? Like 30% of our audience is even going to go listen or probably less than that, honestly. But I feel like they're loving me faster.
I'm so excited for that. And I mean, I'm not surprised that that's the case with you.
Or hate
So,
me, who knows? Like it's probably both, but it's totally
no.
fine.
Well,
And
thanks so much for having me. This has been
yes.
awesome.
Yes, I'm so glad we could do this. And I will put all the links and your did you tell them your Instagram handle?
Yeah, it's Joey C. Vitale.
Okay. Okay, cool. I don't know if you're as much of an Instagram nerd, but I know I've been tagging you on there. So,
Thank you. You're the
well,
best.
well, thanks for coming and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that chat with Joey as much as I did. And just remember that you can always find him at joeycvitale.com, and he spells it Vitale, joeycvitale.com. And today he not only is still practicing all of this lawyer stuff, right? But he also empowers talented entrepreneurs and maximizes their success. He works with professionals and he protects their peace of mind through entity formation, trademark registrations, contract drafting, and other fundamental legal needs for small businesses. And I know firsthand that Joey is a great business coach. He really was a pivotal piece in me doing so much hiring this year. A lot of my peers helped coach me through what it might look like for me to have an integrator and how to do that when I felt like I wasn't quite ready to take on that big of a role, but they really helped me see my blind spots and all the good, amazing things that coaches do. So don't forget that you can get access to his free masterclass, the Get Legit masterclass. You're going to love it at elizabethhenson.co/E55. And don't forget that my group coaching program is starting very soon. So I'm going to link up that wait list as well. But most of all, I just really hope that you guys are going to just, if anything, just watch his free masterclass. It's so worth the time. And then also, Joey has a program that'll just help you get your business license. So if you're listening and you don't even have your LLC yet, I'm going to link that as well. He has an amazing toolkit that will get you started with all of that good stuff. So we are going to hook you guys up over at the show notes. And make sure that you say hi to Joey. Go tag him on Instagram. Let him know you enjoyed this episode. And we have more exciting things to come on the podcast. So thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to leave us a review. Tag me on Instagram. I just love to know that you guys are here and that you're listening. It makes my heart so full to know that you guys enjoy these episodes. And yes, I'm just so grateful for you guys that are still listening all the way at the end of the episode. All right, big hugs to all of you. I will see you next week. I love you. Bye.